welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to Conrail. So here we are. As you remembered, the last video that I put out, I bought the Lionel Vision Line Conrail Autorack with the sounds and horns and talking, and I went through that and demonstrated it and reviewed it. If you missed that, make sure you go back and watch that because I actually show you how to work everything. So, well worth watch video. At any rate, so today what do we have? If you did watch that video, remember me saying I wanted the yellow Autorack, the yellow Conrail Autorack out of the Florida East Coast set that Lionel had made. So Lionel made the Florida East Coast Autorack set. Originally, a friend of mine knew somebody who was going to get one because he just wanted the locomotive and he was going to sell the cars off, but he backed out because he didn't like the colors that the locomotive ended up as. So I sort of started panicking. I was calling around and asking different hobby shops, hey, are you going to be parting out a set? And they said so far everybody's buying a whole complete set. Finally, I went on eBay, which I know I rant and rave about. Don't buy it from there, but I wasn't sure how high the prices were going to go on these, and I thought it was a pretty reasonable price to pay for it now. And Lionel, I'm not sure how many sets Lionel had made, because the only way you could get this car is in a set. Now, I believe, and Stu can correct me if I'm wrong, the minimum quantity of locomotives is 40. So I'm going to say they at least made 40 sets, but I don't know what the final pre-order was, because sometimes the pre-order does dictate how many are made. So if there was 100 people who ordered sets, okay, then there's 100 made. So, you know, the bare minimum at most is 40, and how many sets they made could be as many, 200, 300, whatever, however many pre-orders are worth. And so we're going to get this out of the guy packed it really well. I'm really happy with the packing. He did a very good job. Thank you very much. Believe it or not, this broken up set came all the way from California. Why would somebody want a Florida East Coast train in California? I don't know. So yeah, here we are. The Conrail Autorack car in yellow, only available in the, you gotta buy the Florida East Coast set to get this. They do not have this separately or single for sale. And I think they do that purposely, just so you buy the set if you see something in there that's cool. But I got lucky. I found somebody parting a set. I am happy. So we'll get this out on the track. We'll talk about it. Then I'll finally get a Conrail Autorack train together for you guys, and we'll make a run for this video. So let's go. Alright, so here you guys go. I have it out of the box. The yellow Conrail Autorack car. And I know you guys are asking, Dakman, Sean, is this for real? Did Conrail really have a yellow version? We'll talk about that here in a minute. But let's take a look at the car itself. So the car itself does have some graffiti on it. I've had people ask me, hey Dakman, when are you going to get a graffiti car? I get that asked that often. I'm not a fan of graffiti, but I really wanted this car, so yeah, I'm alright with it. It's not very heavy graffiti, so we'll take a look at that here on this particular car. So you can see very light graffiti here. There you guys go. There's some white graffiti here. It's hard to make out what it says. So I'll turn this car around because it has different graffiti on different sides. Alright, so the graffiti on this side of the car is a little bit more heavier, a little bit more noticeable, so take a look at that. So here you guys go. Looking at the graffiti here. Trying to pan my camera slowly. There you guys go. So as I said and mentioned in my last video, these are full-scale 89-foot Autorack cars. Both Lionel and Atlas make them full-scale. The MTH Premier are not full-scale. They're shrunk down a little bit to negotiate tighter curves. As also I mentioned before in my other video, Lionel had these originally rated for 0.54 curves. I said do not do that. Run them on at least 0.72 minimum. I have 0.80, so they do run a lot happier on 0.72 and 0.80. As I also mentioned on my last video, the doors on these do open, so we'll open them up here for you guys. There you guys go. Gotta be careful, they gotta be gentle with them. So you can load up cars in here on the non-Visalign ones. So you can actually put cars in these. So the non-Visalign ones have die-cast trucks, metal wheels, and operating climatic couplers. The panels, as I mentioned in the other video, are see-through on the Lionel, which is really cool. So let's take a look at the small details. Not sure if you guys are able to pick that up, but there's all your small details and lettering and decals. Now for those who haven't watched my previous video on the Lionel Visalign version, so the history behind these Autoracks, they're from the 70s and 80s. And basically what they did is they took 89-foot flat cars and they custom built the Autorack on top of them. They started off with trailer train, and as I mentioned in that video, they eventually moved to building on top of TTX flat cars because trailer train actually became TTX Corporation. So first let's talk about the reporting mark on this particular Autorack. So it does have a meaning, believe it or not. So you'll notice it says TTGX instead of TTX. So does that mean anything? Yes, it does. So the TTGX is a bi-level Autorack, but it's designed for carrying larger vehicles like SUVs and light trucks. So this car is actually set up for SUVs and light trucks. So the trailing letter G in TTGX is a specific internal designation used by TTX to classify the type and configuration of the Autorack flat car. The final X is just the standard Association of American Railroads designation used in reporting marks for privately owned rail cars, meaning the owner is not a common carrier railroad. Okay, so I know you guys like learning. So the reporting mark of TTGX is bi-level Autoracks, typically used for taller vehicles like trucks and SUVs. ETTX reporting mark would be for a tri-level Autorack designed to carry smaller passenger cars, and CTTX is a convertible deck Autorack, often multi-max models, which can be configured to either bi-level or tri-level, depending on the need. While TTX owns the flat car platform, the actual enclosed rack structure on top is often owned by individual railroads, such as Union Pacific, Norfolk Southern, in this case Conrail, which is why you might see different railroad logos on a car with a TTGX reporting mark. The cars operate in a general pool service managed by TTX for efficient distribution across the rail network. Alright, so the answer you guys been waiting for. Thanks for being patient. So, did Conrail really have yellow Autoracks? Absolutely they did. So why did this happen? Because most of the Conrail Autoracks you see are brown with a yellow platform. Well, TTX remanufactured this car from an older TTGX rack. In early 1995, the TTX company began placing filler panels in spaces along the upper and lower edges of the standard panels as seen on this rack. At the same time, TTX introduced a more reinforced panel design with fewer holes, as on this car. The solid yellow paint scheme of the entire car made it unique to Conrail. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put together a all Lionel Autorack train for you guys to enjoy. So let's go. So you guys might remember my Vision video where I showed you guys the wires were just hanging and rubbing the wheels. So this is my fix here. You can see the tie wrap. The tie wrap does indeed limit your wheel motion, but since I'm running this on 080 anyway, it'll be just fine. Now I do have two different sets of the Atlas L articulated Autoracks, but I will not be running those today with this train. I want to keep this train all Lionel. So as I mentioned about the reporting marks having a special meeting, I did not cover BTTX. So the BTTX reporting mark signifies that TTX owns the entire car. They own the rack and the flat car. Okay, for my Lionel Conrail Autorack train, it will be led by SD70 Mac, and the trailing locomotive is an EMD SD60M. I like running more modern Conrail locomotives with my Autorack train.
This is the dispatcher. Do you copy?
Copy that, dispatcher. I read you. Over.
Okay, start her up. Stand by for track orders.
Gotcha, dispatcher. Let's get to work. Out. Tower, the air test is complete. Am I clear to the outbound? Over.
Negative. Hold your position. Over.
Copy that. Let me know when I'm clear. Out.
are wondering, the 4 Conrail Brown Autoracks, are they different road numbers? Yes, they are all individually different road numbers. Lionel did make 4 regular Autoracks in a Conrail road name. Some people think they only made 3, but no, they made 4. One of the road numbers is kind of like hard to find. But at any rate, I hope you enjoyed another Deckman Productions video. We'll see you at the next train show, next event. We'll catch you trackside. Goodbye.